Hey, arithmetic sequences and series. Arithmetic has a specific meaning. It is saying a recursive series, and not just any kind of recursive series. It is a recursive series where on your sheet there I have some blanks. It says it's a sequence, and sometimes they call a sequence a progression. That's another word they might say. It's a sequence in which each term after the first term, first is what goes in this blank, after the first term, is obtained by adding a fixed number to the previous term. So arithmetic series is a recursive series. You look back to get your previous ones. Like the Fibonacci sequence is recursive, but it is not arithmetic because it didn't just add a fixed number, it added previous terms, right? Those were not the same amount. This is, you're adding a fixed amount to get the next term. That's what's happening here. That is arithmetic sequence, what that means. There is another word that we use when we refer to arithmetic sequences, and that's the common difference, D. The common difference, D, what did I have there? It is the fixed number that is added to obtain the next term. So if you've got a sub 1, you're going to add D, and that gives you a sub 2, and you have a 2, and you add D, and that gives you a sub 3, and so on. It is just like that. So, now we're just going to practice with this, and oh, by the way, there are some very nice formulas that go with arithmetic sequences. So this is what we got to understand. If they use the word arithmetic sequence or series, you get to use those formulas. If they use notation like the common difference, D, if they hand you D, you know automatically you're dealing with arithmetic and you get to use those formulas. Those are things that they will say in the instructions or give you, and you'll go, oh, this is arithmetic, I get to use those formulas. So here we go, let's practice this. Number 1, find the common difference D for the arithmetic sequence. Okay, so here is number 1, and so this is how you do it. I'll go to the formula in a second, but basically we know we're adding the same thing. All you do is you look at it and you pull out two terms that are side by side, any two terms that are right beside each other. So for part A, on number 1, I'm going to choose -9 and -1. These are beside each other. And what you do is you take the one further down the road, -9, and you subtract the one in front of it. I'm going to subtract -1. And this will tell me what D is. -9 plus 1 is -8, and that is what the common difference is. If I'm like, oh, did I do that right? Let me check again. Pick two terms beside each other. -17, the one further down the road, and subtract the one in front of it, minus -9. This is -17 plus 9, and that's going to give me -8. That is the common difference, D. That's how you can figure out the common difference. That's basically what this formula is. How do you find D? You take a sub n plus 1, maybe this is a sub 3, and you subtract a sub 2, the one in front of it, from it. That's how you figure that out. Okay, let's find it for, so for this one, D is -8. Let's go to B. Let's take -7 and -9 further down the road. -7, subtract the one in front of it, minus -5. -7 plus 5 is, that's a 7, -2. That's what I think D is. Let me go again. Let me pick the first two, -3 and 1. Take the one further down the road, -3, and subtract the one in front of it. -3 plus 1 is -2. Okay, yes, I feel good about that. D is -2. Notice they're calling it a common difference. A difference is a subtraction. That's how they're defining this guy. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, what do they ask us to do? Find the first 4 terms of the arithmetic sequence when they give us the first term and the common difference. So this is really easy. The first term is handed to us. There's the first one, -8. And so are we supposed to add them or just do the sequence? Just list them. Yeah. So what is -8 plus 9? That's a 1. Plus 9, that's a 10. Plus 9 is 19. And so that's the first 4 terms of that one. That's all there is to it. Let's look at 3. Find a sub 18 and a sub n, the rule when they give you the first term and they give you the common difference. Now, we could list up to 18, or we can go to the formulas. I'm going to go to the formulas. What is a sub 18? We can use this rule right here. So here's the formula. So let me make some more room. This is my scratch pad. Now I'm going to do number 3 right here. Okay. Number 3 goes like this. A sub n is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. All I did was copy that down. So if I were to find a sub 18, which I do I know a sub 1? They gave that to me. This is handy. 4 plus n minus 1. Well, what is the value of n in this instance? It's 18. So 18 minus 1 is 17 times the common difference, negative 4. And when I add this up, I get 4. 17 times negative 4 gives me, it's going to be, I forgot what this is, but this is basically, okay, now I'm going to do it by hand. 8, 2, 4, 5, 6, negative 68. Negative 64 is what you get right there. Okay, that's number 3, but that's only this part. So this was negative 64. Okay. What about a sub n? They want the regular formula. Okay, what they want you to do, if they say, what is a sub n? Look at this formula. If we know what a sub 1 is and we know what d is, we can come up with a sub n. So we have to know a sub 1, but they handed us that. No problem. They handed us d. All we got to do to find out what a sub n is plug our numbers in. A sub 1 is 4. N minus 1 times the common difference, negative 4. And we're going to get the rule, the function in terms of x, the function in terms of n in this case. So a sub n is 4. This distributes. Minus 4n plus 4 is what I'll get. So a sub n is negative 4n plus 8. That's what I get. Minus 4n plus 8. That's what we'll get for that one. Let me see if I finished that one. Did I do it? Yeah, I forgot to do that part. But that's what it would be. All right, so let's do number 4. Find a sub 6. Find a sub n given this. Okay, so 3 and 4 are similar in that they want us to find the formula a sub n, and they want us to find a specific term down the road, a sub 6. What's different is in the first one they gave me a sub 1 and d. The second one they didn't. They gave me a common 2 terms. Okay, so there are different approaches that you can use to do this. This approach, since a sub 8 and a sub 10 are only 2 spots away, I'm just going to logic it a little bit. So let's look at how to approach number 4. This is one way you could do it. They told me that a sub 8 is negative 17 and that a sub 10 is negative 10. All right, so I have this, and then they add something to it, and then they add something to it, and then I get negative 10. So basically, if I take negative 17 and I add 2 of the common differences, I'm going to get 2 terms down the road, which is a sub 10, and this equals to negative 10. That is one way to figure out your d. Instead of adding one thing, I added 2 things because it's 2 terms away. And we could solve for d. So if I did that, I would add 17 to both sides and get 2d is equal to negative 10 plus 17, which gives me 7. And d is 7 over 2. So now I know what d is. Okay, if I know what d is, that's handy. Let's look at some of the formulas that we have. Here's a formula that has an a sub n in it. I have an a sub n. I have 2 of those actually. And I have a d, and I could solve for a sub 1. I'm going to do that. It doesn't matter which one. I'll probably pick a sub 10 because it's got even numbers. That's the only reason I did that. It doesn't matter what you use. So let's do, here's the formula. A sub n is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. All right. What do I know? D is 7 over 2. 7 over 2. I don't know a sub 1, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And so I chose to use this one. So a sub 10 is negative 10. So a sub 10 is negative 10, and n is 10 in this instance. So let's see what happens here. Negative 10 is a sub 1 plus a 9 times a 7 over 2. Negative 10 is a sub 1 plus, this is going to be 63 over 2. A sub 1 is going to be negative 10 minus 63 over 2. If I get a common denominator of 2, then this will turn into 20. So negative 83 over 2 is what I get to be for a sub 1. I just solved for that. Let me see if I'm agreeing with myself from earlier. Am I agreeing with myself from earlier? I can't even find it. Just a second. Oh, except I used decimal. So let me see if I'm getting the right thing. So I said it was negative 41.5. So let me divide 2 into 83. 2 into 83, 4, 8, 3, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, okay, same thing. I'm happy with that number. Okay, so a sub 1. What else do we have to find, for heaven's sakes? We haven't even found anything. A sub n. Okay, that's what we have to find. So let's find a sub n. Now we can do it because we know a sub 1 and we know d. All right, a sub n in general is going to be a sub 1, which is negative 83 over 2 plus n minus 1 times d, which is 7 over 2. All right, let's just distribute this guy. A sub n is negative 83 over 2 plus 7 over 2 times n minus 7 over 2. A sub n is going to be 7 over 2 times n, that guy. Negative 83 over 2 minus 7 over 2 is negative 90 over 2, or minus 45. This is what a sub n is right here. Let me see if I agree with what I wrote down earlier. I said it would be... Oh, I kept forgetting to do that part, so shame on me. I didn't even do that, did I? Well, that's what it'd be. What's the second thing we have to find is a sub 6. Let's find a sub 6. I think I did that one. All right, a sub 6 is going to be not too hard. Now we have a nice little formula. So a sub 6 is going to be 7 over 2 times n, which is 6, minus 45. So 2 goes into 6 3 times. So this is going to be 21 minus 45. 45, 21, 40, negative 24. All right, cool. So, oops, that's right. This is going to be negative 24 is what we get when we do that. All right, number 5, and then we'll take a quick break before we tackle the very, very last one we got to do. And I'm going to do a different approach. That was one approach. This one approach was saying, hey, you know, 2 terms away is not that far apart, so it's not that hard to calculate D. So that was a good way to go. I'm going to do a different approach when I do number 5. Okay, we have to find a sub 1. Okay, it says. And they give us a sub 14 is 12. A sub 27 is 18. Find a sub 1. And they could also have us find a sub n after we know that. That's no big deal. But this is what I'm going to do. When I look at the formulas that I've been given, remember these S stands for summation. So they haven't given me a sum. So I'm not going to use those. And I'm going, and these are not, I can't find D because these are not 1 apart, or even, well, these are 7 apart. Maybe I could do the same approach I did there. I could try that. But what I'm going to try to do is use this one twice and set up a little system of equations. And it's pretty straightforward. So let me just write this down. A sub n is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Oh, wait. For the first one, n is 14, a sub 14 is 12. So a sub 14, I'm going to say 12 is equal to a sub 1, which I do not know, plus, in this case, n is 14. 14 minus 1 is 13 D. All right, I used this piece of information. Now I'm going to switch colors so I don't get mixed up. Here I'm going to do this one in red. Let's use this piece of information. A sub 27 is 18. Okay, 18 is equal to A sub 1. I do not know. But N in this case is 27. 27 minus 1 is 26 times D. Now I have a system of equations. I have two variables and two unknowns. You saw this in in intermediate algebra, where you would have 2x plus 3y is 7 and negative 4x plus 7y is 12 or something like that. You would add your equations together. I want to add these together in such a way that it kills one of my variables. I either choose to eliminate D or I choose to eliminate A sub 1. I'm going to choose to eliminate D, and what I'm going to do is multiply my top equation by something that will make this nice. I'm going to multiply my top equation by negative 2. Why I chose to do that is negative 2 times 13 is negative 26. And when I do that, that will add very nicely. So let me just kind of get rid of this. When I multiply this, negative 2 times negative 12, I get negative 24. Negative 2 times a sub 1 is negative 2 a sub 1. Negative 2 times 13 is a minus 26d. Now when I add, it's going to be productive. It's going to eliminate somebody. 26d minus 26d is 0. 1 minus negative 2 is a negative 1. Negative 24 plus 18, I believe, is negative 6. 24, let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yep. So a sub 1 divided by negative 1, 6 is a sub 1. Okay, and so that's how I could find a sub 1. And that time I chose to use a system of equations. I could have done this same sort of thinking in number 4. So there's different good ways to approach this, and it's up to you how you decide to approach it when I'm asking you to do it, you know, analytically, showing me all your work. Okay, here is a break, and we'll finish this up.